You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I'm pushing them back from the saloon to the airwaves. I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big guns creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Let this judge is twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, roars will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
10 people watching live right now. Thanks to you and you and you and you and you. And I see you back there with a quart of ice cream. I see you too. Don't think I don't. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for being here tonight. And welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media, Nof, Idaho studio, ensconced as I am within here. A little warm outside today, maybe 82, 83, something like that. BZ, with the dermatological problems that he has, doesn't go out in the heat anymore. As you already have sensed with your spidey sense tingling, I am your conservative Sherpa. Now, what that means is that I am guiding you through the maelstrom of the Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, betrayal, and all that kind of nifty jazz. And that's what I do. That's my job. It's my job, man. And please note what you're about to hear consists of my opinion and my opinion only. Let's turn this over here a little bit. There we go. It's my opinion. It's my show. There are no other guests, so I'm responsible in some way. But I still stick in the disclaimer. I am doing the job that fundamentally the American media maggots won't. I am changing America one leftist diaper at a time. And right here, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks here in the saloon. This be one of them. Army and facts. History, logic, rationality, proportion, clarity, context, tradition, and common sense for regular, normal people like you and me. And politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, science, economics, law. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon, where the speech is in fact free, but the booze is not. I am streaming live right now on a whole host of places to include, and this is UniQ. This doesn't customarily happen. I'm being streamed live right now on KLRN, but that's because they don't have sufficient good content. And I think I'm their fourth or fifth backup, right behind the Budgie training channel. Wait a minute, the Parakeet training channel. They stole that from me. I started the Parakeet training channel. Why, I oughta. And so welcome to everybody being here tonight. Now, this is interesting. One ringy dingy, two ringy dingies. I called up a friend and I said, hey, you haven't subscribed to SHR. And then he said, well, you know what? You're right. And that's good for one subscription right there. Yesterday, during the Edge of Liberty, who went into special overtime just for this, Sean Lewis, we acquired 500. Then I think we acquired 501, perhaps 502 through that. And we are now currently up to 506. As far as I'm concerned, I now have 109 followers on my Rumble channel, BZ's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show Rumble channel, and another few thousand couldn't hurt. So if you're not doing anything right now, please, if you would, weigh in. Oh, I am so far back on my, geez, where have I been? Let's talk to the people that are here tonight. Rick Robinson, Sean Lewis, Squatch Zone, The Phantom, Canada Heavy Hall, Mr. 501. Those were jeans back in the day. Jersey Joe, and a host of others who are hostingly. God, a lot of people in the chat room. You need to be there as well. Oh, gosh. Wait, look, we waited. He did the polite thing. Lost Wanderer waited. You want to be fashionably late, not too late that you piss a lot of people off, but that was fashionable. And so I say, yes, present. And Mike says, no, I haven't been speaking to her. Mike Pasqua said, will we hear from the East Coast political goddess, who was Carrie Baxter Donovan? And I must say, I have not heard from her in quite some time. She was last on probably a few months ago. No, not a few months ago. I would say probably December, right around in there, sometime. In any event, since it's just me, oh, well, it might be just me. 12 people watching live right now. Oh, Sean Lewis knows. Last year. Okay, cool. My show tonight is called America's Avoidable, I should say, Doom Loop. Their Avoidable 2025 Doom Loop. And I had to think long and hard about this. And of course, yes, I will be playing a host of videos later. I was kind enough to be sent a video or two from some very fine people, including Rick Robinson. Thank you very much for that. And also Sean Lewis. Thanks for that as well. But I want to start off with, never in the history of our allegedly free nation have we, as actual Americans, been subject to such egregious tyranny as today, and so seemingly indifferent. And unfortunately, those two go hand in hand, because we have discovered many things we thought were true, but have since been revealed and confirmed as true in such a way as to relabel so-called conspiracy theorists as, in fact, well, they turned out to be prescient, like you and me. Yes, of course, there are tons of amounts of pushback involved now, beginning with Trump 45 and on into Trump 47. In some venues and some issues, things appear to be turning around kind of at a bit of a positive pro-American bent, as they should have been all along. But for a great deal of Americans, we are collectively discovering, though all along we should have intuited all of that, and massive shame on us that some of us didn't. Sad. With us actively and affirmatively choosing to ignore every sign. The signs were right there, all in front of our faces, that the agencies, the boards, the governments, the institutions we thought were helping us, turns out they were in fact entities responsible for our enslavement. And we became a nation of sheep, flogged and strapped and stepped on, and our throats were bled just enough not to kill us, but to sufficiently exsanguinate just enough for the complacent little hosts that we needed to be. We bleated, we mouthed a few complaints, but we continued on with our little distracted, ignorant ways, entranced and enthralled by all the dreck and the tech that was surrounding us that actually means nothing, and the social media that means nothing, by the kabuki theater of the absurd, which means everything, by bread, by circuses, by feints, by diversions, by pretty much everything except the damn truth. So we have it so good right now. We are so coddled and soothed and petted and stroked and chucked under the chin. We have forgotten what's happening right in front of our very eyes. We become the lambs raised for first shearing. We're being sheared of our wool, our defense from the weather, from the environs, from our ability to even defend ourselves. We're being sheared of our freedoms, our liberties. We're being told one thing, witnessed autocrats doing something else entirely, and we think little of it. Because, as has been pounded into our little heads for multiple decades, we decided that we were in some fashion going to allow the government to do the thinking for us. Let the elitists do the thinking for us. Why not? Let our betters, there are betters, let them do the thinking for us. Because obviously it's apparent we lack the capacity for clear thought, for reason, for a manifest understanding of our plight, and for our foreordained future. Because it's already been said, right? We're the proles, we're the serfs, we're the groundlings, we're the unwashed, we're the menials, we are the indentured servants, the lackeys, the helots. We need to know our place. We must be reminded constantly of that, and then raised up for the slaughter. It's no secret the Georgia Guidestones, which blew up so nice. They advocated an Agenda 32 globalist mindset. And this is what globalists want for you. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Probably won't be English. These are all on the Guidestones. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all these things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Balance personal rights with social duties. Aha. Okay, you guys see what's going on here. We have become one of the clearest, loudest beacons on the planet for those who wish to do us harm. Because what the beacon is essentially saying is, you know what? It's broadcasting on every frequency imaginable, and it's saying, here we are. Come on, take us over. We're ripe for the taking right now. And I can tell you why many nations, many minorities, many ethnicities, many young war-age males want to come here. They're from hard-scrabble little countries and areas where only the strong survive. They look at us collectively in media, in social media, and they perceive us, mostly rightly so, as weak, ripe for takeover, first in a small area, then in a neighborhood, then in an apartment complex, might be Aurora. Then they look at our leaders as corrupt and risible and bribable and extortable as they are. They see this on TV every day because TV is everywhere and it's in your brainulus. They know President Trump is tough, but they also realize he's a passing fancy. He's not going to be around that long. 4 years from now, the U.S. is going to be back, they're thinking, to open borders, a bigger, greater welcoming for graft and open arms for even more graft and guilt and globalism. So if they can just squeak it out, if they can remain background, so to speak, and if the world in the U.S. hasn't already come to civil war, their chances of overturning this weak nation are not so bad. They know the courts, the bureaucracy, the political leaders are going to assist whenever possible. They historically have, they historically will. They know Trump is an aberration, and they're counting on us to, after a time, resort to a lot of infighting and then amnesia and then followed by an immediate case of historical Alzheimer's. We seem to love that. Europe seems to love that. Then sometimes they see what they believe is an opportunity and what they believe is a confluence of conditions ripe for what they would consider to be sort of the proverbial perfect storm, if you will. And that's what's occurring in Los Angeles right now. That's fanned by a large Democrat leftist and globalist cash, all essentially sourcing from, who do you think? Take one fucking guess. George Soros and his little world-destroying buddies. So a series of wealthy someones decided it's time to ignite Los Angeles, fan the flames, and then attach the Rahm Emanuel axiom, never let a good crisis go to waste. And this was no organic, natural, spontaneous reaction to ICE. Okay, on the street level, to a certain percentile, it was. But that's only because the illegal invaders are doing what they're told, releasing some Mexican steam, destroying that which they likely will never be held responsible because historically have rioters? Not so much. Because on its face, it makes, think about it, you all have. It makes absolutely zero sense to demolish the country that you wish to call your new home, demand rights, demand entitlements no other country would even remotely conjure for you, then not only claim that you haven't been sufficiently catered to, but riot due to the umbrage, the personal umbrage, oh, the pain, Dr. Smith, oh, the pain that you were told that you got to feel by those self-same Democrats, leftists, and globalists. It's like, hey, let's go to another country. Then let's try to take it over because we feel like it. And when we don't get our immediate way, let's just trash it and we'll expect nothing to happen to us. That, okay, that's bad in and of itself. We'll discuss further. And we expect, simply because it's California, for Governor Newsom. I came up with a new name today for him. What did I call him? Governor Fuckity Fuck Oil Hair, or words to that effect, Senator. And LA Mayor Karen Bass and all the rest of the Democrat sycophants in California, always spelled with a K, the rest of the Democrat sycophants in DC, to all chime in kind of simultaneously and scream that stopping a contingent of illegal invaders from destroying an entire city, which, by the way, contains the second largest population of Mexicans on the planet, just behind Mexico City itself. To do that is fascist and heinous, and it's unconstitutional because we say so. In a way, yeah, we expect that. It's California, always spelled with a K. It's DC. They're Democrats. They create nothing but destroy everything, but with one exception of note. They'll go out of their way to create problems themselves, then jump in and offer solutions to that which they themselves generated, and that turn out to be even worse than the original problems and cost untold billions of dollars to fix. Your billions of dollars, which naturally, does that stuff get repaired? I don't see many repairs going on. They just demand more dollars. Don't ask where the money goes. You damn bastards. You think people are accountable. Just like now, and that's bad enough. But as I mentioned on Rick's show, when law enforcement gets involved and sucks the cocks of those Democrats, those leftists, those globalists, then essentially what they're doing, as far as I'm concerned, is they're demanding to be placed in the same category as those people who want to demolish cities. They're essentially no better than the rioters themselves, except they're hiding behind a badge, a uniform, and an oath that, as far as I'm concerned, they clearly spit on. If you haven't guessed already, this is BZ's BBS, the first in a series coming, my big, beautiful soliloquy. And that's what I'm doing right now. So here's LAPD's official June 7th press release on official LAPD letterhead, which says, today, demonstrations across the city of Los Angeles remain peaceful, like my shirt. And we commend all those who exercise their First Amendment rights responsibly. The LA Police Department appreciates the cooperation of organizers, participants, and community partners who helped ensure public safety throughout the day. So what they're saying is that we're not going to, we're really not much interested in keeping the peace. We're just going, it's like King's X. We hope you keep the peace. We hope we don't have to get involved. We hope you don't go silly. But now to be outdone, okay, then this happened. This is LASO's, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department's official similar press release on LASO letterhead. Look down below. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert G. Luna. So it's official. So we received several reports of federal immigration enforcement actions across Los Angeles County. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department wants to emphasize, we do not participate in any civil immigration enforcement activities or mass deportation sweeps. Immigration enforcement is the responsibility of federal law enforcement agencies, not the Sheriff's Department. And we wipe our fucking hands of as much of that stupid shit as we possibly have to, as much as we can get away with. Okay, I want to point something out here, which I continue to be, I think are facts and evidence. Please note, okay, that the LA ICE protests began on Friday, June 6th. But both LAPD and LASO thought it was so critically important to issue these press releases on a Saturday. Now, anybody that listens and watches the show knows that I've been in law enforcement for 41 plus years, and this simply fucking disgusts me. These so-called law enforcement leaders spit on their own badges. They dishonor their own oaths of office. They are, let me spell it out clearly, they are pieces of leftist shit. Here's a piece of leftist shit right here. This is LAPD Chief James McDonnell. What a great guy. We'll hear him speak in just a moment. And then here happens to be LASO Sheriff Robert Luna. Great guy, I'm sure. He probably doesn't set kittens on fire. I don't know that for a fact. And as a result, now I mine shit for you guys everywhere. And I'm sorry that I don't have the capability right now, because I'm a moron, to continuously display all the comments up here, because my thoughts are running like free-flowing water. Oh, damn. Now I got to pee. How sad. I find stuff for you, and I found this from a former LAPD officer. And it goes like this. I'm going to read the whole thing because it's beautiful. I mean, this dude summed it up in a way that I could not. And then I will get through a portion of this. Maybe I'll get to the end of it. We'll take a break and we'll come right back. He titled this, "The Uniform Without a Spine, a dispatch from the front lines of gutless government and gold-braided cowardice." Gee, I wonder what he's referring to. I have no concept of that. Typically reticent at mincing words, I think I'll now indulge in a wee bit of commentary on LAPD's Jim McDonnell. This is an LAPD officer writing this. This guy is good. His vacuum-sealed spine, his long laminated cowardice, and his latest grand abdication of responsibility to the troops he pretended to lead and the citizens he failed to serve. When the sitting LAPD chief publicly declares his entire department will not cooperate in any way with ICE, he's not taking some brave moral stand. He's not protecting the community. He's not even virtue signaling. He's showing his true colors and his allegiance to the loudest, dumbest corner of the electorate, while casually wiping his ass with interagency cooperation and federal law. Oh, and the cherry on the gutless sundae, he implied that his troops just might be used against federal agents. That's right. The chief law enforcement officer of the second largest city in America hinted, like a man cosplaying courage in a room full of hand-wringers, that his own officers, sworn to uphold the Constitution, could be pointed like a weapon at fellow law enforcement doing their lawful duty. Just what kind of dirt do the globalists have on this guy? And I use that last word, man, on this man, with reticence. McDonnell, and this guy writes, God, he's making me second guess any Irish roots I may have, knew exactly what he was doing. This wasn't a goddamn slip. His signature theatrical cowardice is simply a matter of recidivist ass returning to the scene of institutional betrayal. He's the same. I'll end with this in the first half hour, these bullet points. He's the same Jim McDowell who neutered the LAPD gang database, not because it was flawed, but because critics with sociology degrees decided tattoos and nicknames were racist. Also, he pushed for the removal of the thin blue line insignia, not because it posed a risk, but because it made fragile people sweaty. He discouraged proactive policing in the city's most violent corridors under the banner of, quote, restorative justice, which is just Latin for a hope the guy with the machete is feeling mellow today. Also, Chief McDonnell greenlit internal investigations not for misconduct, but for problematic language, as if enforcing grammar is nobler than enforcing the law. One can imagine what he'd make of my tone. Too declarative, too binary, insufficiently apologetic for daring to say what used to be common sense before cowardice was rebranded as a policy.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wonder is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I am BZ. Welcome back to the Saloon. Thanks to everyone who is here. 25 people happen to be watching and listening live right now. Always appreciate it. SHR Media has made it to 500 and what did we say? 505 subscribers now. So even the people who may not be subscribed, some of the people perhaps in podcast who are listening later in the podcast, if you would take it upon yourselves to be so very kind as to hit the subscribe button. Now we've achieved 500. Next is 3,523,728. Once we get to that, only then will the YouTube algorithm decide that, well, maybe they've got enough subscribers that we might loosen it a micron, if that at all. Tonight's topic, I'm talking about America's Avoidable 2025 Doom Loop, and I was talking to you about an officer who had written something, I don't know, quite interesting, shall we say, about LAPD Chief James McDonnell. And it happens to be full of truth. The same Jim McDonnell who wasn't a chief who led. This was a man who took the moral equivalent of a knee every time a Soros-funded grievance goblin raised their voice on an antisocial platform. He didn't reform the LAPD. He refurbished it into a publicly funded therapy circle with pistols. Oh, that's brilliant. I fucking love that one. A walking HR seminar in epaulets. A department whose primary directive was no longer enforce the law, but apologize in advance. Well, just for existing. We're so sorry. Let me put it plainly. Jim McDonald does not believe in the rule of law. He believes in optics. He believes in appeasement. He believes in the kind of bureaucratic tail wagging that gets you rebooked at Aspen think tanks and DEI round tables. And while he wore the uniform, he never once bore the weight of it. He was a bureaucratic chameleon, the kind who could cite committee minutes and invoke community stakeholders and quote policy like scripture, but he couldn't stare down a cartel-affiliated predator and call him what he was, a goddamn threat. That wasn't just a failure of courage. That was a full-throated repudiation of duty, a declaration that the politics of the moment matter more than the oath sworn by those under his command. And here's the punchline. He still expected people to salute him. Jim McDonald had one job: to protect the people of Los Angeles without fear or favor. Instead, he protected his future speaking gigs. He protected his liberal media credibility. He protected his delicate little snowflake wallflower image as a reformer. He didn't go soft, he went hollow. A badge-shaped echo chamber who turned a noble calling into a risk-averse, hashtag-compliant brand. So let's end this with the clarity that he could never muster. Resign, Jim. Not for failure, for fraud. You cashed the checks. You wore the uniform. You gave the orders. And you folded like a yard sale lawn chair the second that uniform required actual conviction. You didn't lose the public's trust, Jim. You sold it off in quarterly installments wrapped in euphemism, festooned in DEI, and lacquered in cowardice. You may still hold the title, but in every meaningful sense, you already quit. He ends with this. And we fucking noticed. That's an LAPD officer and his grand insight into the losers, the leftist losers that run LAPD and, as since we're here already, LASO, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Office. And here's the gig. We all noticed too. All the people in law enforcement, me, some of the other people here, Earl, Sean, Rick, we were in law enforcement. We noticed too. We're not stupid. We can actually spell. We can actually write. And we have eyes. And we have ears. All of us noticed all around the nation. And there aren't words. I tried to think of words, multisyllabic words sufficiently harsh to describe these two shit sticks. And even shit stick wasn't enough. That was insufficient. Particularly James McDonald, who recently proclaimed that he was overwhelmed by the riots after having just stated officially that he loved him some illegal invaders, hashtag because diversity. So, Jim, what do you think?
People are worried about the violence that we're seeing. This violence that I've seen is disgusting. It's escalated now since the beginning of.
I couldn't condemn it beforehand. I can try to condemn it now.
Incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals.
He gets to the good part. Just wait.
Out there shooting commercial grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be.
Well, hey, funny, Jim, that happened in Seattle. That already happened to the federal officers that were trying to protect their building in Seattle. Now it's happening to you. Now it's an emergency. Now we must react, Jim.
Be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. We are overwhelmed as far as the.
Stop. That's all you need to hear. So this guy who loves him some illegal invaders admits that he's overwhelmed. He was overwhelmed because he is incapable of doing his job. He has an intentional failure of imagination, and he yowls like a baboon how he loves illegals until they create some issues for him. Then he's overwhelmed. Boo fucking who? Life in a leftist urban rat cage is already sufficiently difficult, absent law enforcement essentially saying that the taxpayer public, the actual Americans, you can go to hell. Not only will we not protect you from illegal invaders, but we will favor illegal invaders over you and we'll take your guns. Best we can. So I should care to remind everyone that we, this nation, started a revolution against an entire nation over less than this shit. Everything you see is intentional. Everything is part of the plan. The very idea that the U.S. exists as a country is absolutely anathema. It's reprehensible to Democrats, leftists, and globalists, and anarchists in the American media maggots. Our vulnerabilities as a free nation are being exploited against us. That's extremely clear by deliberately having allowed multiple millions of illegal invaders inside during the Biden regime. I've said this before. Some people think 10 million. Well, I think that's way fucking low. Some people postulate 20 million. I still think that's low. I think it's up around 25 million, perhaps even 30 million. But here's the cool thing, kids. No one knows. No one wants to know. It is suicidal for any country to permit these kinds of uncontrollable, unassimilable numbers within sovereign borders. And that fact is being proven in real time before our eyes. Preventing that is fascism, a Marxist tactic. Allege something terrible like fascism, while conversely, Democrats, leftists, globalists, anarchists, and the American media maggots are engaging in precisely the same thing, except on a scale magnitudes worse. No other president could possibly even remotely save us from this kind of national annihilation except President Donald John Trump. Will the Battle of Los Angeles end up creating CW2? A theme produced entirely by the Democrats, leftists, and the globalists by refusing to allow ICE to do their own jobs via sanctuary, city, state, and local policies. They could have all along complied with federal detainers in the jail systems. But they didn't. So you know what that did? That necessitated that agents of ICE go into places that all these people are complaining about. Oh, you can't be here. You can't be there. But they had a little alternative. Okay, so now that you say, well, we can't do the logical thing, which we used to historically for multiple decades. Now we're going into courthouses because you force us there. We're going into places of work because you force us there. We're going into homes, businesses, placing those agents and those in those locales in greater jeopardy. ICE agents, because in Southern California, it ain't going to be LAPD or LASO involved in assisting. When in fact, it was far fucking simpler to just comply with our laws all around. Let me remind you. 8 USC 1325 and 8 USC 1326. Look it up. Bringing normal policies to a first world country, the same policies that every first world country has, including the countries the illegal invaders themselves left. Those policies are in place right there. It's the Democrats, the leftists, globalists at all who forced this scenario upon every sanctuary city, state, and town. Compliance would have yielded an orderly pickup all around with few people, if any, getting injured, because it's customarily happened for a real long time. The suspects themselves or ICE. This all could have been avoided. That's why I said this show, America's Avoidable 2025 Doom Loop. This all could have been avoided. Every bit of it. If the prior administration had held to federal law, to normal principles, to respect for the Constitution, respect for the Bill of Rights, respect for our nation's sovereignty, and respect for the actual citizens living here in the United States of America, we must have the absolute iron will to defend our country because no one else will. The rest of the nations on the planet, most all of them, are pissed that we discovered their multiple decades-long grift, their scam, their abuse, their neglect of the United States, their failure to pay up, their failure to do their global part. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, our hard-earned American taxpayer dollars, they built some of the finest social welfare systems imaginable. Their people lived large. Then they excoriated the United States and us because we weren't smart enough to create all of our own perfect safety little nets. And then they rubbed our noses in it on our dime. They're pissed, those nations, like any, ill-brained, petulant, idiot teenager, that they did something wrong. Mom and dad never got hip to their shit. Then suddenly they were caught. Now they're squealing about unfairness and oppression and how awfully judgmental we are collectively here in the States. The point being that if we don't figure this shit out, settle our own shit right here, right now, no one is coming to help. No one. In fact, as we burn, the other nations will be complaining, as they are right now, that we're simultaneously killing little black and brown children and babies all across the globe because, in truth, only a minuscule portion of the spice has ceased to flow, but apparently that's sufficient to kill millions or billions. So we could have prevented all of this by turning off the illegal invader spigot long ago. Everyone is to blame. Everyone. Reagan, Clinton, Bush, 1 and 2, Obama, Biden, and even in a way, Trump himself. We could have cared for ourselves instead of caring for other nations first. We could have stopped this long ago. We chose in all of our politics to embrace this, and with the passing of years, we only ended up embracing it longer and harder and with more stridence. You see, because our largesse has been seen as weakness. It still is. It's the nature of most human beings, that being, of course, completely foreseeable. If you're a student of history and a student of human beings, it's patently obvious. What other nation would have created a Marshall Plan after having almost killed himself due to the sacrifices required on a global scale? Eliminated much of an entire generation of young males here in the United States with huge potential futures right in front of them, gone. Families and lives shattered, yet the American public was asked to respond with even more of their hard-earned American taxpayer dollars in order to rebuild what war had obliterated. People and nations took advantage of our largesse, our kindness, our generous and giving natures, to the detriment of the nation itself then and now, both during World War II and afterwards. We went from being givers to a fault into the category of naive, and now these days directly into the category of unnecessary guilt, and worse yet, chronically stupid. Americans have little sense of what I spell out on my show every night in the opener. You heard it tonight. History, facts, logic, rationality, clarity, proportion, context, tradition, and something in the most dire of short supplies, common sense, like you guys have. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but every once in a while, I hope that things break through. So this is our pit. This is our hole. We dug it ourselves. Sadly, altogether, too many people are ignorant of the first rule of holes. When you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Comma, motherfucker. We got ourselves into this predicament, both because we were originally, I'll be the first to admit, we were good-natured. Then we became greedy. And then we decided we could further exploit situations. Wait, BZ, what are you talking about? Democrats, historically the party of racists, decided sub rosa that they required an entirely new class of slaves. First, those damn black slaves were freed. Then they were resubjugated by Lyndon Baines Johnson, a Democrat, in 1964. Then their families were ripped apart, but fuck it, who cares? But that wasn't enough. Particularly when more recently, those damned uppity blacks decided to think for themselves and break their own mold, break their own Democrat chains. From that point, to think that any black would vote for Donald Trump 45, much less Donald Trump 47. American blacks became betrayers, underminers, traitors, disloyal, and an entirely new cadre of personnel had to be minded and moved in order to provide and perhaps even expand Democrat power and control, which of course yields money, which of course yields more power and control. Those groups, Mexicans. Then the illegal invaders of all stripes and sorts. Look at Chicago. I'm not making this shit up because I don't have to. Visions of sugar plums danced in their head. You may not know this, but illegal invaders are counted in the U.S. Census, which is why Democrats completely lost their shit when President Trump suggested that they would not be. Why? BZ, why is this so important? Because the number of counted persons in a state equate essentially to the number of representative seats in the House. Democrats want illegal invaders, not just for the votes, as they reason such invaders would be grateful, unlike those American blacks, for the seats. Vermont, for example, has one representative seat. California had 53 seats. But following the 2020 census, California, always spell it with a K, lost one seat due to population loss. Okay, so see how that works now? The influences are great. The powers arrayed against the United States of America are great. The vast powers and influences warring against the American taxpayer, the actual American citizen, are likewise just as great. We created this problem. The show, America's Avoidable 2025 Doom Loop. There is no force here, no outside force to help us. No one, absolutely no one. So if we don't take care of ourselves, we can expect this kind of assistance. None, zip, zero, the null set. Just as a soft coup was aligned against a presidential candidate, a president-elect, a winning presidential candidate, a sitting president, Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, so is a soft civil war being waged against the actual citizens of the United States of America. It is up to us and no one else to take our country back, to stop the doom loop. No one else will do it. No one cares. All we're good for is being bled with a knife, keep those cards and letters and taxpayer money flowing to every other country, then we'll be happy. Expect us to do anything in return, any obligation, any sense, slight, however, any bit of responsibility? No. Fuck yeah. United States. We have the capability to take care of it all ourselves. We have the capability to take it all back, to stop the doom loop. We can do it. We have the capability. We have everything we need right in front of us right now. What we require is the united will to do it all. So we already know elements on the Democrat and the leftist and the globalist and the anarchist and the Marxist and the American media maggot side are hoping we'll take things right up to and including Civil War II. I hope we don't. But the problem is history repeats. And we always have to learn from history.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic women who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born.
inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence, as do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. I'm nationwide. I'm busy. Well, I'm wide anyway. God, I almost did Christopher Walken there for a second. I do a fairly decent Christopher Walken, but I shouldn't do it right now because I am inured with the show. And of course, the show must go on thanks to everyone who is here tonight. We got about 25, 26 people watching live. That's a great thing. And again, thanks to Rick Robinson, who is kind enough to broadcast us right now, simulcast us on KLRN. We are at 506, I think. 506 subscribers. The 507th could be you, and it could be you right here, right now. If you would just go as alms for the poor, please. Go to SHR and subscribe to the show, to the SHR Media YouTube channel. We would really very much appreciate it. I'm going to continue with the show, the theme being, of course, America's Avoidable 2025 Doom Loop, and what we've been seeing directly in front of our little gazettes. I started early because I wanted to cut at the natural point of progression. And then go into this. Now, we were talking, everybody on SHR, everybody on KLRN has been talking about, okay, how long is this shit going to go on? And I suspected, well, they're making notes, they're naming dates. So this is nokings.org. On June 14th, we rise up. Well, that also happens to be the day that there's going to be a shit ton of tanks in D.C. That's a celebration for the Army. And I think folks might take a little bit more umbrage in D.C. for bad things occurring there than they would anyplace else. The other thing is, we have seen any number of terrible things happen right now. I gave you my big, beautiful soliloquy. I showed you the guys that are part and parcel of wrecking that. You've probably seen this. Now, haven't you always wondered, as why can't we find somebody with a little lift to take those and just put them away somewhere? Put them in the back of a dump truck and just take them. And if they belong to somebody else, who gives a shit? Fuck it. Put them, break them. You know exactly what's going on with them. Oh, but BZ, remember these protests, by the way, look, see, mostly peaceful. These mostly peaceful protests, they're not political. Remember that. Mexican flag, Donald Trump face. But no, they're not political. You'll see a theme continuing here. Mexican flag, burning shit. Mexican flag. See, but this will be not unlike a boomerang. You know, that photo it went all over the place. That photo went all over the place. The riots continued on until the night. And then so Trump said, oh no, we're going to bring in the National Guard. Not under Section 1, not under Section 3, but under Section 2, danger of or rebellion against the U.S. government. And so what we saw were all of these vehicles trashed on 101 by people on the overpass right there. Now, you don't think a brick or a rock can kill somebody? I took reports for bricks or rocks killing and hitting people on roadways from overpasses. And depending upon the whim of the DA either filed felony charges or depending upon the severity of the injuries, it was charged federally if the victim was a common carrier. Imagine that. Didn't see that coming. And this is what it looks like from the top as our officers see the lovely little electric bike, whatever the fuck that is, drop down on top of them from people on the overpass. That's what we're putting up with here in the United States. Antifa had to get into it too, of course. LA emergency protest. That's not a protest. It's a fucking riot. Emergency protest, 4:30 p.m. Los Angeles. There it is. The LA riots weren't organic. They were orchestrated and well-funded. Hey, look, somebody found this on Craigslist. Looking for the toughest badasses in the city of Los Angeles. Seeking extremely tough, brave men. Oh, sexist, you bitch. Brave men for new crew I'm building. Compensation, $6,500 to $12,500 per week. We're forming a select team of the toughest dudes in the area. But, this is organic. It's natural. It just formed out of oppression. ICE out of LA, National Guard go away, Sunday, 2 p.m., LA City Hall. Mass mobilization. Who's running this? Who's suggesting this? Who's posting this? Look up at the little letters at the very tippy top up there. Party for Socialism and Liberation. Huh. Who could possibly have seen that shit coming? Christy Walton, the Walmart heiress. Newspaper ad. Now I mentioned No Kings, June 4th. There's a newspaper ad. So it's out there. It's out in the ozone. It's present. And then we have this. One of Mexico's elite families, Mexico's Claudia Sheinbaum. She's calling for Mexicans to protest in the U.S. Protest? Well, she can't come out and say, well, I just want you to fucking riot. If necessary, we'll mobilize. We don't want taxes on remittances from our fellow countrymen, illegal Mexicans, our fellow countrymen. Get it? So what occurred as a result is Senator Eric Schmidt said he's going to be introducing legislation to impose a 15% tax on all remittances to Mexico because this shit has got to stop. The doom loop has got to stop, and no one else will do it except us. Absolutely nobody is going to do it except us. Well, maybe historically a few people have done it. Where are they now? Funny you should ask. Declaration of memes. Somewhere in LA, there's a 68-year-old Korean grocery store owner wiping the dust off of his Daewoo K1. Tony Moon says, it's never dusty, my friend. It's always oiled and ready. Well, this has never happened before, has it? Never in the history of history. Certainly never in LA, right? May 1992, Rodney King. Marines from Camp Pendleton were deployed to the city to help restore order. And then, because I am a great believer, and I am a lover of Schadenfreude and hashtag consequences. Oh, poor baby got shot in the face. Maybe with a ferret round, probably not. Probably just a little rubber bullet. Oh, he's so pissed off. I'm so sorry for you. Lo siento, motherfucker. This was something nice. More of this. The pushback is starting. The pushback is coming. I have some articles to talk about. just a little bit later on. Yeah, American flags, fuck your protest and your foreign flags. You know, when this first came out and I saw this, I created this meme and I sent it around the world. Here's some Mexican piece of filth spitting on the American flag. It's burning. Out, you know. You know what this does? All this does is imbue me with a sense of stridency and urgency, saying, now more than ever, I am abso-fucking-lutely convinced every illegal invader, every baby, every infant, every mother, every son, every daughter, every grandparent, every male, every female that's illegal in here has to get the hell out. I don't give a shit who you are. You absolutely got to get out. Let me stop here. Let me turn the sound on, put it up. You may or may not have seen this before. Do I have that on? Yes, I do. Let's go ahead. CHP, like I said, from an overpass. This is what's happening. Oh, stop. Go. No, that wasn't meant to kill. That was just a love tap, right? Da puta, you Mexican piece of fuck. Did I just say that? Gee, I wonder where we got all those bricks and pieces of rock from. But remember, let me take this off here so that you can see. Remember, all this shit is mostly peaceful. Thank God you keep it in your brains, you pack of losers. Don't you understand? These are just peaceful protests. You know, and we need to let they occur naturally. Just let them express themselves, if you would, please. Well, so much for that kind of expression. Now, this is interesting. This is worth reading, and I recommend it. I recommend going to shrmedia.com. I don't post there because I'm too stupid to be able to know how to do it. I still post on bloviatingzeppelin.net. But Sackhead Sean does. Go to shrmedia.com. Here's an article that I highly recommend that you read. 1992, and he goes into great depth and detail about this. 1992 and now Title 10, the President and the Governor. And what that means is read into this, read the article about, well, this isn't illegal, federalizing and moving the National Guard in. And it goes into great detail, federalizing the Guard, Title 10, insurrection, the Insurrection Act, 10 U.S. Code 251255. Case study, what does the governor need to do to improve? That's a great article right there. I highly suggest that you go and read it. shrmedia.com. This is true too. This is from, let me see if I can put this up here. Stage, go. Wish I had a producer. Gee, Sean used to have one. I never had one. Mexican New York Post. This is from the New York Post. Mexican flag-waving masked protester becomes the symbol of LA anti-ICE riots. Here's the kicker, and this is true. This is perfect propaganda for Trump. Propaganda or truth? You decide. Now, if you're a leftist or a Democrat, it's going to be propaganda because these were all peaceful and nobody was killed. Nobody was killed on January 6th either, except one unarmed white female veteran killed by a black idiot, had fucked up before, fucked up again, Capitol Police officer who had numerous gun violations in his background. If I had done it, if the roles were BZ's reverse axiom, if I had done that, I would be buried under the prison. He was promoted from lieutenant to captain, and quickly he was completely, you have no responsibility in this, my son. Go forth and prosper. And so he did. Now, I ask you, let me put this in here right now. Maybe yes, maybe no. Phone lines are open, 916-835-3329. I'm going to let that run for a while. If you're interested in weighing in, I've got 37 comments up here that I won't be able to even get to because I lack the mental horsepower to be able to come up with all that stuff and continue my train of thought, which frequently derails, as all of you well know. There's another article. This is from, and this guy, I have tried and tried. If there is a God, if there is a God, please someday let Victor Davis Hanson respond to some of my emails. This guy is California, always spelled it with a K, Gold. He's a professor of history at Fresno State University, and he writes for any number of other organizations, conservative organizations and whatnot. He is a professor, as you can clearly see. Gavin Newsom and his cruel sense of cruel. So he weighed in on the Trump administration's efforts to undo the last 4 years of border destruction when an estimated 10 to 12 million illegal aliens entered the U.S. unlawfully. Thousands of them. Oh, come on. Listen, I know VDH is hedging. Millions, I say 20 million came here. And with that concomitant proportion of criminals and gang members and those with a history of murder and rape and sodomy and child abuse, all here in our land. Our land, folks. This country belongeth to us. Continued chaotic federal sweeps across California to meet an arbitrary arrest quota are as reckless as they are cruel. Now, do you think that there's a quota for that? And the answer is no, there is no quota. I have somebody on the phone. Go ahead.
Hey, BC, this is Mike.
Mike, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, not too much. Sean yesterday got into the fact of where the funding is coming from all this stuff.
He did.
And I asked a very legitimate question. I asked, did USAID have something to do with it? And that question is yes.
Yes.
That answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes. And look, those guys on that bridge that were throwing those rocks or bricks or whatever down on the cops on the police as they were passing under that bridge. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm starting to get to the point of where I want to see the warthogs come back in and scrape those bridges and boom, get rid of those guys.
It'd be nice theme, but only in Cuba or the U.S.
Only
the original
Cuba.
USSR.
Yeah, only in Cuba. But I mean, look, this is an insurrection. What's going on in California? This is a textbook definition of an insurrection.
All of 2020 was an insurrection. No leftist or Democrat
Yes,
wants to hear and know that. 25 people
And really-
killed, billions and billions of
And
dollars.
really, as me and my friends were watching this 2020 on late night on these different Facebook and different feeds that they were having, and I'm saying, okay, they're sitting there trying to pull that fence down around that courthouse in Portland and all that stuff, right? And it's like, okay, they're going against the federal government, and Trump did not send in extra people to protect those fences at that time, so he was kind of soft on them at that time, and he could have done what he did just now, and at that time, and said National Guard taking the National Guard from Oregon, and said we're gonna mobilize the National Guard. He could have done that, but he didn't.
Well, you learn as you go on. You know, in this article right here, for example, Newsom, and I read the paragraph that was referenced. Newsom said it was chaotic. Newsom said that there were arbitrary arrest quotas. There was no such thing. He said it was reckless. You know, and VDH response, reckless is destroying the southern border. Reckless is allowing an unchecked amount of cartel fentanyl, disguised as prescription or less toxic illicit drugs, to kill 70 to 100,000 Americans per year. Reckless is empowering the cartels. And cruel, and this is the point of the article that I wish to emphasize with emphasis. Cruel, this is what Newsom says. Cruel is overtaxing state social service facilities with hundreds of thousands of foreign nationals. He has to be nice. I don't. They're illegal invaders whose sheer numbers imperil the healthcare of California's own beleaguered citizen population. That healthcare system is already, to my understanding, at least a minimum of $20 billion underwater, much less the high-speed rail to hell. Any other questions, Sir Michael?
Okay, so one other thing about these people that are challenging, like Newsom, he's challenging Trump to arrest him, right? I said it in the chat room earlier. Decimate these people. Arrest Newsom. Arrest the lieutenant governor out there. Arrest that mayor in L.A. Arrest the county commissioner. Arrest them all.
Any other comments, Sir Mike?
No, Matt. No, sir. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Thank you so kindly. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. If you do that, though, if you create Civil War II, doesn't that kind of play into the hands of the people who say, well, we're the violent ones anyway? Speaking of violent ones and those who love violence,
they thrive on division because it allows them to take more power and exert even more control. And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness and violence as long as it serves him. What more evidence do we need than January 6th?
Okay, stop right here. I read faces. That was part of my job. This guy is under some stress right now. I stopped it here. Look at his face. Look at his eyes. He's not that relaxed. This is not the smiling, happy Governor Newsom that you customarily encounter. This is a guy who sees that his very own intimate ass is on the line for 2028. And when he has visions of sugar plums dancing through his head, now he's seeing something similar to, well, my personal spice, its flow may stop go.
Ask everyone. Take time, reflect on this perilous moment. A president who wants to be bound by no law or constitution.
The other thing is, he wants to let you know he's serious. Look at the seriosity afflicted within his Gesicht. It's all over. Well, what you take from this is his seriousness is, I repeat, he's worried. He has to be able to get his proper message out there so that in reflection come 2028, he can refer to this very video right here and said, I opposed. I was the fight. I was the face of the fight. I took it to Trump with my fuckity fuck oil. Here we go.
Perpetuating a unified assault on American traditions. This is a president who in just over 140 days has fired government watchdogs that could hold him accountable for corruption and fraud. He's declared a war.
See, but everything they accuse you of, they're themselves doing only infinitely worse. As we discovered, folks, go back and watch my USAID show. I had video after video after video, like a scroll of what happened because of USAID. And I create this show, if for no other reason, shows like this, to immure videos, your comments, your points, the things I find so that I can go back and access them. Because you know what I've discovered over the years is shit disappears. And that's why, like this show and any other show that I have, hey, if you missed some of these videos and you say something like, hey, BC, where did you get that video? Where did you get that one? Where did you get that article? At bloviatingzeppelin.net, at the conclusion of this show, late tonight or early tomorrow, I will have all the postings, all the show links down at bloviatingzeppelin.net. And they will also be, for your reference and convenience, at the SHR Media Rumble channel for BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. All the show links will be there as well. Purposely, intentionally, I have nothing to hide. Purposely for you to find and research and have access to. Go.
Or a war on culture, on history, on science, on knowledge itself. Databases, quite literally, are vanishing. He's delegitimizing news organizations.
What did I just tell you? What did we just find out about databases vanishing by leftists? Oh, that's right. LAPD Chief James McDonnell made a database disappear. Who are the censors? Everything, and I mean everything, everything he says is false. Everything. But I'm going to continue for a while. I threw up in my mouth just a bit. I sadly had to swallow, but I'm going to continue for a little bit further so that you can see what it is that you're dealing with. Because I'm telling you right now, this Android bot wants to be president in 2028.
Organizations, and he's assaulting the First Amendment. And the threat of defunding them, at threat, he's dictating what universities themselves can teach. He's targeting law firms and the judicial branch that are the foundations of an orderly and civil society.
Because remember, that was never done under Trump. Never.
Calling for a sitting governor to be arrested for no other reason.
See, the dealio is, Mike, Newsom would love this in particular, because if you put handcuffs on him, that's his goal. That wasn't the goal of that judge in, I think, Minneapolis. She clearly thought that she would get away with it. This guy would see this as an award. An arrest for him would be a reward and an award. I'm not going to give that to him. I don't want to give that to him.
Than to, in his own words, for getting elected. And we all know this Saturday, he's ordering our American heroes, the United States military, and forcing them to put on a vulgar display to celebrate his birthday. Just as...
Stop. Again. More lies. It's the U.S. Army birthday. But he can't tell you that. He doesn't have the guts. This guy is a pampered coward.
As other failed dictators have done in the past.
I think I've had enough of him, and I bet you have too. So let's pull him off the screen. But that's just a small indicator of what he does in California. You would expect no less. So let's start doing this. No, you know what? I was going to say, hey, look, like I said at the beginning of the show, I have so many videos that I don't have the inclination or the time, and we're not going to get through but a mere little teeny weeny fraction of them. And I was going to start with this, a pile of bricks. You saw a pile of concrete blocks. Now you're seeing a pile of bricks. This is all set up in advance. And we'll commence with this when I come back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of common sense in action. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passionate.
Are you looking for bold and honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hanks.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm back. This is the final half hour. I'm not going to do any overtime tonight because for the most part, the videos that I'm going to be playing, a number of you have already seen. But again, the purpose of this is to emphasize that this is a repository of where these things will be. I've told you where to go if you wish to access all of these things. I have nothing to hide. You guys have nothing to hide. But we are in the throes of a doom loop. It's self-created. We can get out of it. We just have to have the will. We have to have the wherewithal to be able to do that. I apologize for not going through and displaying as many of the comments as I can, but there was just so much material. I've put these things up when possible, and I apologize to everybody for not doing that. Let me go back here. Pile of bricks waiting to be thrown. Here is a Facebook post. Let me go up here. This is what somebody posted, and I'll put this up. Breaking. Democrats are now demanding charges be brought against LAPD officers for using tear gas on a crowd that included a baby, despite the crowd actively assaulting ICE agents. In California, always spell it with a K. This woman, I would have gone out of my way to arrest this woman for 273A. Now, it's a wobbler. I would have made it a fucking felony. Who in their right damn mind? But stop. Jeez. I had a blast. I got to jam and hit the sheets. Great show, BZ, as always. Good night, all. Well, Sackhead Sean has to go. Who in their right mind takes a baby to a riot? Only a Democrat. Only someone who's essentially, as far as I'm concerned, they're screaming, prosecute me, please. I'd certainly love to see that. So here's also another funny thing. Karen Bass is screaming, oh, this is so horrible. This is so terrible. All these ICE agents, when she couldn't be found to help out during all the various wildfires. It's quite clear that Predator 2 is the most accurate depiction of what a real American dystopia would look like. It was set in Los Angeles in 1997 rather than 2025. Can you tell the difference between those two? And the answer is, I cannot. And that's why that was up there. I'll get to that a little bit later. CNN hates the U.S. Here's another video. Let me see if I can play this, please. So these are all Mexicans. I say Mexicans. They're not Hispanic and they're not Latinx. These are Mexicans from Mexico and illegal invaders. And they're saying, courtesy of La Raza, this is our country. Let me see if I can get this to play. Go.
Oh, he wants a ride.
Okay, I can't sit and perch on this video. Plus, that siren has absolutely blown out my eardrums. Everyone knows that you need no respect for LAPD. You need no respect for law enforcement authority of any kind whatsoever at all. Deport all illegal invaders. You don't get to invade a country. You don't get to shit on the taxpayers. You don't get to poison the community with your culture and wave your flag in our nation.
Together as a community, and we should fight for this. The real criminals in the office right now. That's the real criminal.
Why? Because they didn't get their way. Let me put this up here just a little bit later. Democrats are the party of political violence, and Kamala Harris continues to be an advocate for that, for political violence. Let's put her up on the stage and hear what she has to say in about 50 seconds. Sure, I'll pander to you. I'll say gracias in as terrible a fashion as I possibly can. And again, you cannot write this stuff. Here comes another American media maggot saying that these are, wait, I'll have to show it to you again. Do you see? These are mostly peaceful. So the mostly peaceful repartee, the witty American media maggots keep insisting on this.
that I spoke to, that I was interacting with, these are peaceful people that want to get their message across. They brought signs. They're out with families in some places, and others are obviously more agitant, have the mask on, and reportedly, I didn't see this, but reportedly throwing things back at authorities that are trying to do their jobs as well. Most of the crowds, again, that I saw, that I spoke to.
Oh, come on. They're just peaceful. Oh, this is a good one. This is our favorite California, always spell it with a K, ancient racist female. Go ahead.
To stop here where the guns are. I want y'all to take pictures of these guns and let people know that they're in our city with guns. And I'm sure they have orders to shoot and kill. I don't know, but otherwise they wouldn't have guns.
One question, Representative Waters.
So police, according to Maxine Waters, should wade into riots completely disarmed. That's her philosophy.
If there's one statement that a message that you can send to Donald Trump, what is that message here today?
My message to Donald Trump is you are a cruel human being, and that you are using the poorest people in the land, the most vulnerable people in the land, to promote your politics. You are wrong. We know what this is all about.
You know, there was a time when I would have listened to somebody like this. But, you know, I am of the mindset now that these are people, Democrats, leftists, globalists, anarchists, are people with whom you cannot reason. And they have gone out of their way to prove that. So I, again, as I emphasize, I am disinterested in bipartisanship. I am disinterested in compromise. I am interested, however, in steamrolling all of their leftist Democrat fucking asses and their Democrat socialist asses and providing for them no consideration at all. Now, I don't call that revenge, or I don't call that retribution. I call that justice. You know, listen to how this individual talks about her people, your people, not my people.
You're running us over. You're shooting us all because of the color of our skin. All because we have culture. We brought it here, and we are who we are, and we love it here, and we help people here. That's what we're known for. We help people. And
are you illegal? If the answer is yes, get the fuck out.
Yeah, we're getting terrorized. We're going through this. Our families are being our babies are literally being ripped.
Folks, let me make this abundantly clear if I haven't before. I don't give one ragged fuck about your illegal immigrant invader baby. I don't give one ragged fuck about your illegal invader infant. I don't give one ragged fuck about this bitch. And I don't give a ragged fuck about brothers, sisters, grandfathers, grandmothers, grandparents. I just don't. We've had enough. I've had enough. You've had enough. This isn't your country. La Raza is dead. It just migrated into something else. I was on college campi in the late 60s, early 70s, and I know exactly what La Raza is. It was a Mexican racist organization. La Raza is the race. It means nothing more complicated than we are the race. We are Mexicans. We are the big race. We are the best race. We are the only race. In a country that says that eschews racists, gesundheit. And yet it's a country packed with racists like this chick. You want to say, you know, people talk about an insurrection. And I've told you this before. I had an entire show, 2 hours, about replacement theory is replacement reality. And people, again, to Tucker Carlson, to myself, oh, BZ, you're just such a racist. No, actual Americans include all the people in Chicago that are being displaced by illegal invaders. All the people, all the multiple paint jobs in every leftist urban rat cage. that are being replaced and favored. Excuse me, they're being disfavored, and illegal invaders are placed in a status above them. So replacement theory isn't a theory, it's a reality. This is what's happening on the streets of Los Angeles. But these are just protests. These are natural, spontaneous protests, BZ. That's all they are. They're nothing more. Which, of course, it's why you know that's just bullshit. Oh, stop. Not going to do that. Let's go up. Continue here. Here. This is, again, indicative of the American media maggots. So, this headline, if you look down below, down there on YouTube, it says, car catches fire during big immigration protest in Los Angeles. It just happened to stop in the middle of the intersection, and like a bad human being that is too fat, it just spontaneously combusted right there. And that's what the American media maggots want you to believe. They will continuously and have and will bury the lead every day, 24/7, 365. Let's back this back up here a little bit. And take that off. And let's go here. Anybody see this? No, of course not. You're not supposed to see it. Law enforcement vehicles were set on fire. I mentioned before, CHP had a whole bunch of Durangos, 400 of them that they couldn't use because the oil coolers were bad. So they sat. In the meantime, they bought Chevy Tahoes. You're going to pay for this, California. State of California, you're going to pay for this. Everybody in their jurisdiction, you American taxpayers in California, always spell it with a K, you're going to be fleeced for this shit. You see that car right there, Chevy Tahoe? Well, there's a whole bunch of really complicated, expensive crap in there to the tune of about $150,000 per unit. Most of it is technological. Most of it is comms. The vehicle itself. But nobody seems to care. Who's going to pay for this? Well, who do you think is going to pay for that? You're going to pay for that. This, I think, would make a wonderful, and if somebody was smart, somebody would assemble all of this and make a great Gavin Newsom promo. Here's about 35 seconds of it. Let me see if I can embiggen it and then play it for all of you. And so this guy says, hey, Gavin, feel free to use this as a campaign ad when you run in 2028. See, that's why I immure this stuff right here. So that in the future, if I want to remind myself of, hey, wasn't that video? I can go right here and then I can play it.
There's the American dream and the California dream. There's no Alabama dream. Eat your heart out, Texas, Tennessee, and Florida.
Mm-hmm.
This is California. The world looks to us to see that it's possible to live, advance, and prosper together across every conceivable difference. It's what makes this state great, that we don't tolerate that diversity as we once had, but we truly can look today and talk in terms of how we celebrate that diversity.
That's him celebrating diversity, don't you think? Facts and evidence. Here we go. Let's go here. Sackhead Sean on his show yesterday, Monday night. And if you haven't caught it, I would definitely catch his show from yesterday. Sean goes into the background of the sources of cash for all of this. And here is something that I want to put up on the screen for you to see. Remember, I mentioned looking for the toughest badasses in the city of Los Angeles. Compensation, $6,500 to $12,500 a week. 1992, there's a riot in LA. 2013, there's a riot in LA. 2020, there's a riot in LA. 2025, there's a riot in LA. And you know what I say? This pays. This stuff pays. It's profitable.
Large group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive law enforcement.
Okay, stop. I played this so that you can listen and hear and watch how ABC 7 quantifies this. You can't clean this up. These people are self-immolating themselves, the American media maggots. I rewound it. Listen to how he encapsulates this and what he says about these mostly peaceful protests. Listen closely.
In there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into
a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn. It's just like before. You know, these people are not going to change. They will never change. It won't change. They won't change. So we have no alternative but to just smash them into molecules. I have no problem saying that. We need to get rid of Democrats, leftists. We need to get rid of racists. We need to get rid of Democrats themselves. Democrats are primarily the racists. Here's another ABC 7 reporter talking about the riots in LA. Most of them were really very peaceful, right?
Right outside the Federal Detention Center. Most of those demonstrators were very peaceful. They were chanting, they were shouting. People were driving by, honking their horns. And again, they were expressing their anger about the detention of so many immigrants at the Federal Center. Most of the evening, the federal agents stayed inside the building, but at a certain point, some of the demonstrators got very close to the property. In fact, some of them went onto the property, started tagging the building, started banging on fences, and shortly after all that happened, the agents started firing.
But that was very peaceful, wasn't it? Of course it was. Now, she was sufficiently smart not to do that stand-up in front of a burning car. So I have to at least credit her with that, don't you? By the way, this is a happy story as far as I can. Let me see if I can make, no, I can't make that bigger. Remember the guy that was throwing rocks on the median as all the federal vehicles drove by? And it was on video. So wanted by the FBI. Now they know who this guy is. And I don't recall offhand if he was arrested yet or not. Assault on a federal officer. That's a felony. The FBI seeking the whereabouts of Elpidio Reyna, 40 of Compton, who is wanted for allegedly assaulting a federal officer in the city of Paramount, California on June 7th. Well, it's on video. Just thought I'd tell you. So these things are slowly but surely. I got time for about 2 more. This is one of my favorite videos. If I had a happy story segment in this show, it would be this, because this is like going to the, I don't know, the circus or the state fair that's in town. And, you know, you win a stuffed animal of some sort if you take the little pellet gun and the ducks go quack, 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 by in the line, and you go plink, 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 and they flap down. They go boom, boom, boom. This is great. Now, let's watch this guy. Then I'll embiggen it and continue to play, because this makes, like Chief Dan George, this makes my heart soar like an eagle when I see this shit. Go. It's like lining up the little duckies. Now, if that's not great entertainment, I don't know what is. And don't ever say that there is no entertainment value here in the saloon during my show. And of course, it was a peaceful protest Nobody got hurt. No businesses were rampaged. There were no riots. There was no burning. Maybe this guy might beg to disagree. Business ruined. Glass ruined. Items stolen.
Cameras and neighbors. Has it ever happened before? No.
But of course, nobody gives a shit about this person.
It's horrible. Years work.
Least of all the illegal invaders. Glass. It's just property. This guy's entire life was ruined. He had a jewelry store in Los Angeles. And everybody took everything. Any bit of jewelry, it was gone. His family is gone. His business is gone. In the city of angels. But, that's no problem. Because, hey, listen to these people saying that when they encounter them, they're going to spit in police officers' food. Mexican illegal invaders. If I were a law enforcement officer, number one, if I were a law enforcement officer, I wouldn't work for that fuckstick McDonald or I think it's Sheriff Luna. I wouldn't work for either one of those fuck nozzles. And I wouldn't work in law enforcement in California, always spelled it with a K. I did back when you could actually enforce the law. If anybody doesn't brown bag their lunch in the entire state of California and you're a cop, you're a moron. Oh my, BZ, you're so judgmental of cops. Oh yeah, I am.
You go to cover, nigga. I'm fake, nigga. I know you do, dog. I'll spit on your plate. I'll put my dick on your plate, nigga. Fuck your family. Fuck your kids, nigga. That's how it is. I can't sleep comfortably because of you.
He be fucking getting a whole fucking plate. He be fucking expecting us to give us a whole fucking shit. That nigga right there.
Do you go to cover?
Yeah, you do, nigga. Stop playing. Yeah, you do. Nigga, act like I don't know your fucking
Why would you even interact with these pieces of shit?
face. Stop fucking playing. Fucking talking about, can I get a
Stop fucking
discount?
playing.
Can I get a fucking this? Can I get a fucking that? That nigga right there. Point that shit at him right there. Point that shit at there right there.
He doesn't look like he go to cover though.
Get going to know shit. Hell no.
You know what? I don't get paid enough to do that. And yet, cops in California, especially in major leftist urban rat cages, they're still there. I don't get it. Now, I understand. Make no mistake. They get paid, comparatively speaking, to other states, bank. But there has to come a point when career survival, officer survival, and just being comfortable at night in your head and the working conditions have to be more important to you than the job itself. To all California law enforcement officers, I tell you, get out. Let California sink by itself. Get out. For those of you just tuned in, get out. California wants to defund police? Fine. Get out. I said before and I'll say it again. Pick a state, pick a city, identify it, defund the police, remove the police, and we'll see what happens. Let's have that experiment. Let's have that talk. Let's have that discussion. Because I am way ready to have that discussion myself. I have to ask everyone here tonight, one and all, those people watching live and those people who are in podcast, I have to ask you, at what point do you say something similar to, I think I've had enough. I voted with my feet and I took all my hard-earned California, always spelled it with a K, and American taxpayer dollars with me. and it cost me a lot of money. But I sleep like a baby at night. And the fiscal and the emotional baggage and weight that lifted from my shoulders was worth every damn last penny.
Man's love has been lost.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for watching the show tonight, right here on the SHR Media Network, also on KLRN. Thanks to everybody for being here, and to KLRN. I had a great time. I hope you did too. And I say, as per normal, promotional consideration by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, by the Arrakis ArcTalk Blue, my mixer, also from Pratt & Whitney Engines, dependable engines, producing thrust you can trust. And also tiaras, see, are by My Little Pony. Plus, thanks to my personal KC 135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be concerting in less than 10 minutes. And I'm serious. I thank you for staying up this late, and I appreciate your comments, your views. Thanks for subscribing to SHR Media. Edge of Liberty tomorrow night. I'll be back Thursday night and Thursday morning. Mission Ready Men. God bless. Take care. Be safe. Everybody.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Night, everybody.
Night, Mama. Night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
The Phantom Night. Amazing show as always. Never been there, let alone imagine living there in California. Huh. Rick Robinson, plus 223 to your total. Cheetah, thanks for the show. Stay safe all, and be blessed. And like I say, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern, Sean Lewis. Now, I'm going to do this because I know Sean's gone. And nobody's listening and nobody's watching right now because I think I've stopped. But I really haven't. I have to say this. When I put this up and Sean objected, it made my day. This was great. And he's not going to listen to this. He's not going to see this. As far as he's concerned, the show's already over. And he said, "So this is what you think of my show?" And I said, "Dude, this is you. This is all you. This is absolutely you." But like I say, I'm going to do him a kindness and a favor. Listen tomorrow night. Edge of Liberty. You got to be there. I'll be back Thursday. I don't know who my guest is, but you know what? One thing that I never have to worry about is material. Because I have to say, as everyone knows, this is a fucking target-rich environment these days. Jersey Joe's laughing at what I did. I stayed. Look at all the people that stayed, like a Marvel movie, to see what happens at the end. Because I guess I am. Maybe I am a Marvel movie. Maybe I'm not. I thought it was amusing. Good night.